All right, so today we're diving into something that might make you go, huh, really?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about LLCs,
Okay.
limited liability companies,
Yeah.
and whether they're actually they're cracked up to be,
Right.
if you've spent any time in the business world, you've heard the advice,
Yeah.
form an LLC, protect yourself. But
Yeah.
is it always the right move?
It's kind of automatic advice that gets thrown out there.
Exactly.
Like it's step one.
Yeah.
You have a business idea. Gotta form an LLC.
Right. It's like the default setting.
Exactly.
But that's what we're going to unpack today in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're going to look at the good, the bad, and the maybe not so obvious when it comes to LLCs.
Absolutely.
So first off, for anyone who's maybe not super familiar,
Yeah.
what is an LLC? What's the basic idea?
So in a nutshell, an LLC is a way to structure your business.
Okay.
It's a legal entity,
Sure.
separate from you as an individual.
Gotcha.
And the big draw, the thing that everyone talks about,
Yeah.
is liability protection.
Right.
So basically, it creates a shield between your personal assets,
Right.
things like your house, your car, your savings,
Mm-hmm.
and the happenings of your business.
So if things go south,
Exactly.
your personal stuff is safe.
Theoretically, yes.
Theoretically.
There are always nuances, but that's the main idea.
Right, of course.
It also offers some flexibility when it comes to taxes.
Okay, so that's a big plus.
It can be.
Can be.
Depending on how you set it up, you might be able to choose how you're taxed.
So it's a not one size fits all.
Not at all. And that's where the think twice part comes in.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Because, like any legal structure, LLCs have their quirks.
Quirks, I like that word.
They're not always the perfect solution.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
What are some of those maybe less talked about downsides of LLCs?
Well, for starters, they can be expensive.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
There are filing fees when you first set it up, and those vary from state to state.
So it's not a fixed cost.
Nope. And then there's the ongoing stuff.
Like what?
Annual reports, keeping your records in order.
Oh, right, the paperwork.
Exactly. And sometimes you need to have these formal meetings, keep minutes.
Meeting minutes. Oh,
It can be a hassle, especially if you're a solopreneur just starting out.
you're hustling, you're trying to build your thing.
Right. And suddenly you're drowning in paperwork.
Not the dream.
Not really. And all of that adds up.
So it's not just the initial cost, it's the ongoing maintenance.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And then there's the tax thing.
Right, you mentioned that earlier.
It can get complicated.
How so?
Well, a single member LLC, for instance, often gets taxed like a sole proprietorship.
Which, on the surface, sounds simple.
Right. But then let's say your business booms, you bring on partners,
Yeah.
suddenly you're in a different tax situation.
And you might wish you'd structured things differently from the get-go.
Exactly. So it's not just about today, it's about tomorrow.
Thinking ahead.
Yes.
No.
And then there's the investment angle.
Oh, interesting.
If you're thinking big, aiming for venture capital,
Okay.
LLCs can be a bit of a roadblock.
Really? Why is that?
VCs, they tend to prefer C Corp.
Ah, because of stock options and all that.
Exactly. It's just easier for them.
So an LLC might limit your options down the line.
It could.
That's a good point.
So it's like you said, got to think a few steps ahead.
Play chess, not checkers.
Exactly.
Okay, so with all that said,
Yeah.
should people just rule out LLCs entirely?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, good. I was getting worried there.
They can be a great fit for many businesses.
Right.
That liability protection, it's no joke.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Especially if you're in a higher risk industry.
Like what? Give me an example.
Sure, let's say you're running a food truck.
Hey.
Someone gets sick. There's a lawsuit.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
Right. But with an LLC, your personal assets are protected.
So you don't lose your house over a bad batch of tacos.
Exactly. And that peace of mind is invaluable for an entrepreneur.
I can see that.
It's about weighing the pros and cons.
Right, making an informed decision.
Exactly. Don't just jump on the bandwagon.
Do your research.
Absolutely.
So for someone listening, feeling a bit overwhelmed,
Sure.
where do they even start?
Honestly. The internet is your friend.
Okay.
There are tons of resources comparing different business structures.
Awesome.
And don't underestimate the power of good old-fashioned expert advice.
Talk to a lawyer, an accountant,
Exactly. They can help you navigate the specifics of your situation.
because every business is unique.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
And it's been so helpful. I really appreciate you breaking all this down for us.
My pleasure.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hype,
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes the smartest move is to slow down,
Absolutely.
think things through.
And consider all the options.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, remember,
Yeah.
LLCs, they're not the only game in town.
Nope.
There are partnerships, S-corp, even sole proprietorships.
All sorts of options.
Do your research. Figure out what works best for you.
Exactly.
And build that business of your dreams.
That's what it's all about.
All right. Thanks again for joining us.
Anytime.
And to all our listeners, keep learning, keep exploring.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.